What's up, guys? Zan here, and today we are going to be doing something a little different. I'm going to try out a few different little things. Today we're going to be ranking the MCU movie list, movies and the Disney Plus shows. So everything from the original Iron Man to Moon Knight, which hasn't even finished yet. The season finale is, I think, tomorrow? I think so. So yeah, this is going to be my list. You can agree, disagree, whatever. Leave replies in the comments. I know some of these rankings may trigger some people. I'm looking at you, Chase. Got you, kid. Let me know what you think. So yeah, let's get it. Let's put up a few little beats here, and let's get to ranking. Let's see here. So, all right. So we'll start with the first Iron Man. And this is the one that started it all. Kicked off the MCU before there even was an MCU. Obviously, the post-stinger credits. And needless to say, there's going to be spoilers for everything, every single movie. If you haven't seen the MCU, highly recommend. And like I said, it goes from Iron Man. I did it all in order, all the way to Moon Knight here. Now, one thing you need to know about me and movies is I love movies. I'm not a cinephile, though. I don't look necessarily for what's good cinematography, what's good lighting, all that stuff plays a part and is very apparent when it's good and not so good. But for me personally, I go there for the feels. What does it make me feel? Do I love it? Am I moved to tears? Am I cracking up? That's what I go to a movie for, the experience. And there's nothing better than an in-theater experience. COVID kind of shut everything down, and it really sucked. I'm going to put a link to a video in the description of in-theater fan reactions when Captain America picks up Mjolnir in Endgame. The place blows the roof off the place. Everyone, those moments are what I go to the movies for. The communal experience with fellow fans who are also there to feel, right? So, I love crap too, so, the Lavalantula. All right, so Iron Man, the one that started it all. Iron Man. So, I don't know what S tier is all about or where that became a thing. I think in rankings like these, because to me, an A is the best. But S tier is the best of the best, I guess. So, and I won't be putting anything I haven't seen because I've seen them all. So let's go. Iron Man. Iron Man. I just sort of recently watched this. Man, and it's good, but some of these may move around as we go, as I'm seeing things stack up. Iron Man. Obadiah Stane is the bad guy. The origin story of Tony Stark as Iron Man. Man, I'm going to put this in the grand scheme of things. The feels department, I'm going to put it a B. I'm going to put it a B. It's good. It's good. But it's not quite up there with some of the other ones we're going to get to. And I think Marvel, as they evolved and put more movies out, really caught, especially once they started actually tying the Infinity Saga together, really started to gel and find their footing. So I'm going to put Iron Man as a B. Incredible Hulk, Edward Norton. This one wasn't bad. Wasn't horrible. But in the grand scheme of things, it's low on the list. Yeah, I think so. Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2. I didn't hate on it as much as other people did. Introduction of Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow, who's going to be a staple as we get through some of these things. Her arc is amazing. But Iron Man 2, and her introduction was amazing. But Iron Man 2, let's see. It wasn't as good as the first, but it was better than Hulk. I'm going to put it at C. Mid-tier. Mid-tier. I don't think Hulk was an F by any means. Or do I? Wow. Okay. And that's the thing about me. It's very hard to give a movie an F because that means I absolutely hated it. And I didn't hate it. That's about right. The original Thor. Now, we'll get to Taika Waititi's influence on Thor later, which is right where it should be. But for Thor's first outing, Chris Hemsworth, Natalie Portman... Oh, man. Where am I going to put Thor? Thor is also mid, I think. The first Thor. I think so. I think Thor is also mid. It was a great introduction. Moments of humor. But the whole... Even though he's how many thousands of years old, the coming of age story for him is where he really started to realize who he was. But there was more of that to come. So I'm going to put it a C. Put it also a C. Captain America. Chris Evans. Hugo Weaving. Introduction of Bucky Barnes. Cap. I love the first Cap. Love, love, love the first Cap. Yeah. Red Skull. Classic villain. You can't not start with Red Skull, right? And the introduction of the Tesseract. One of the Infinity Stones. Yeah, we're going to put that in as an A. First Avengers. All right. This is phase 1 of the MCU, by the way. From Iron Man to the Avengers. Avengers. This... yeah, S+. And here's why. Growing up in comics and reading comics, they had these things called... You get a weekly or bi-weekly or monthly release of a comic, so you'd have 12 issues a year. And at the end of the year, whatever publication you're usually in the fall or winter, they would have what's called annuals, which was usually big events. They would also have crossovers. This, to me, gave me every single crossover annual vibe, because annuals are usually a huge culmination of story. Sometimes in a comic panel throughout the year in June, you'd see something referenced, like in a Spider-Man comic, you would see something referenced, like a big battle, and a little footnote, it would say, see Avengers issue 187. So you would know what they're talking about. This Avengers was top tier for me. When they all came together, that final battle in New York, and how they came together. Coulson dying. It was a necessary means to an end. And I got to tell you, that post-credit stinger, going up the moon rocks or asteroids, whatever it was, seeing the throne, seeing Thanos turn his head. I rarely ever, like, I internalize a lot of my feels in theaters. I'm not a hoop and holler and cheering kind of guy. But when that Thanos turned his head and I saw his grin, I lost my shit. Because the Infinity War, Infinity Saga in the comics, hands down, some of the best stuff I've ever read. So Avengers, for all those reasons, S tier for me. All right, Shane Black's Iron Man 3. Love Shane Black. Predator, he was great. Hawkins. But Iron Man 3. Oh, Iron Man 3. Guy Pearce as the bad guy, seeing the stuff outside the Chinese theater, my second home away from home, was awesome. But man, I don't know. I don't know if I dug it that much. No, it's going to be a C tier for me. Iron Man 3 is a C tier. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. That's where it is. Thor: The Dark World. We're just going to go D on that one. Didn't hate it. Now, to be fair, I think I've only seen Thor: The Dark World 2-3 times, and it's been a little bit. Might have to revisit it. Maybe that might change, but if I do, I'm not going to do another ranking. This is where it is as of right now. So, yeah, I didn't care for it all that much. Introduced another Infinity Stone, the Ether. Yeah, not much to say about Thor: The Dark World. Oh, Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier. This is going to be somewhat of a hot take because I know this sits at the tippity top of a lot of people's lists. I liked it a lot. I just like a lot other films better. But that's not to say I could have a whole row of A's or a whole row of B's. But I don't know. The point of this movie is, well, not the point of it. Can't say that because I don't know what the point of it was. It's a political thriller. It's about oversight and overreach, as well as the Bucky Barnes story. I just left this movie, you know, what I explained about the Avengers and the raising the roof. This one just left me down. And maybe that was the point. Doesn't mean it's not a good movie. It just didn't give me the uplifting rah 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 feels. And I'm sure that was the point because it's not supposed to. That said, hot take, Winter Soldier, for me, is here. Bring on the hate. Let me know. It's a great movie. Brilliant movie. But for what I'm looking for out of a comic book movie, it's a B. That's not to say I don't like stuff that ends on downers or has a darker message or a more somber tone. But yeah, that's where it is right now. Guardians of the Galaxy. So up until now, with the exception of the Thor movies, everything's been Earth-based. Thor, a little bit of cosmic stuff, but even so, you weren't in space with spaceships and stuff like that. Guardians brought all that into play. In addition to one of the best dysfunctional families I've ever seen. I loved it. A tier for me. No, A tier. A tier for me. Avengers Age of Ultron. This one catches a lot of flack too. That's not to say any of these movies don't have plot holes or things that leave you going, what? But Ultron as a bad guy. Cap grabbing Mjolnir and that little movement that made Thor go, what? Will pay off later, and you all know what I'm talking about. Steve wasn't ready just yet. Ultron. James Spader, brilliant casting choice. Yeah, Ultron. Ultron, I'm gonna also put, is it mid? Yeah, I'm gonna put Ultron as mid. It was still good. The introduction of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch was great. It was mid. Ultron was mid. Ant-Man, where are we putting you? Ant-Man was somebody I didn't have a lot of familiarity with. And to be fair, Avengers as a whole, I didn't have a ton of familiarity with. Of course I knew who they were, but when I was reading comics, my go-tos were Spider-Man, Punisher, X-Men. I wasn't too much into Cap, Iron Man, Hank Pym, the Avengers. It was Hank Pym in the comics, not Scott Lang, at least when I was collecting. So, wasn't too familiar with Ant-Man. But this movie really surprised me. A lot of humor. Paul Rudd's he was born to play this character. Evangeline Lilly was great. But Ant-Man, I'm going to go solid B. Solid B. Good movie, not great, not out fucking standing. Just good movie. Solid B. Civil War. The fallout from Sokovia and the Age of Ultron. This might be a little hot take for some. And I'm kidding. This movie is brilliant. This movie is utterly brilliant. The Civil War comics storyline is outstanding. What do? Some of these choices are impossible. And if they're not impossible, they're damn hard. I personally side with Cap in the choice of freedoms. But this movie, you could really, really see both sides of the argument in this. And not to mention the introduction of the one and only Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I wish they hadn't given that away in the trailers. Underoos! But yeah, Civil War. And Baron Zemo. Oh my god. You want to talk about a villain whose machinations just perfect. Pitch perfect. Pitch perfect. He got them to fight each other because he knew he wasn't going to be able to. So, yeah. Brilliant movie. Brilliant movie. And the first of the Russo brothers, who will be mainstays. Doctor Strange. Huh. Strange is one I was also not very familiar with. But I'm going to put Strange... Yeah, I'm going to put Strange in mid as well. There wasn't anything, we got the Time Stone in Strange. Oh, by the way, Power Stone was in Guardians. So, yeah, Time Stone is Strange, but I'm more interested to see about Baron Mordo coming up in Doctor Strange 2 than I am about whatever Mads Mikkelsen's name was in the film. Not even that memorable. I could picture it, but I can't remember his name. It's mid for me. Good origin story. And Benedict Cumberbatch is pretty damn good in this role, but it's mid. Guardians 2. Guardians 2, I didn't care for as much. It's a solid B for me. It was entertaining. Is it even a B? Huh. A lot of daddy issue stuff in this one. Or is it mid? Yeah, you know what? It's mid. Didn't give me the feels. A lot of these are mid for me so far. All right. Tom Holland's first outing as Spider-Man. Far From Home. I thought solid A. Spider-Man's probably my favorite character ever. This was a solid A. Didn't quite reach it for me. The choice of the Vulture as the bad guy was great. I mean, Adrian Toomes is a great character, but for me, solid A, solid A. The best part of the movie was when his date was found out to be her dad. Her date's dad was Adrian Toomes. Yeah, solid A. Is it even an A? Man. Am I doing that just because I love Spider-Man so much? Or was it really... Did it give me the... No, you know what? I'm going to change it to B. It's solid. It's a good movie. But not quite A for me. Thor Ragnarok. This is where Thor shines. Taika Waititi gets it. And... this is just an outstanding movie. Outstanding movie. The dynamic between Thor and Hulk. That's something in the Avengers that... when Thor catches Hulk's punch and holds it, he's like, what? Thor versus Hulk is the ultimate fight everyone wants to see. And we got it. The gladiator fight was amazing. Hela, Kate Blanchett, is just off her rocker in this one, and I'm eating it up. Eating it up. Solid A. Black Panther. Rip Chadwick Boseman. Much love to you, sir. Oh, another solid A for me. It's very good, very well written. Killmonger was such a relatable villain. His motives were something that everyone could easily understand, but you just take it too far, you know? He didn't want to just balance it, he wanted to tip it the other way. And I get that. Hundreds of years of oppression will do that to people. So, yeah. Totally relatable villain. And for that, it made the movie that much more accessible to a lot of people. Brilliant movie. Brilliant movie. Not quite S tier, though. Alright. Avengers Infinity War. As I said, the Infinity Saga in the comics is probably something that if I had to pick a moment in time, I first got Silver Surfer 50. I had the foil embossed cover, and that's all about Norrin Rad, Silver Surfer, being mind-fucked by Thanos to reveal his deepest, darkest secrets and his innermost fears to Thanos, who then basically just tosses him aside. Excuse me. Tosses him aside and, for all intents and purposes, says, I've beat you. And then Silver Surfer falls off. I think they're on the moon. Crashes into Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, which in the movie was the Hulk. So the Infinity Saga is something that, while near and dear to my heart, they made a lot of changes to it. But that's okay. They captured the essence and the stakes really, really well. So, and come on. At the end, the snap, everyone ashes away. You can't beat it. The only downside I will say is in situations like this, where you've got this big cast of heroes and one big bad villain, you, or at least in a movie, they felt they needed to have mindless hordes of no-name creatures for a big battle, so everyone has something to do. Comics wasn't like that at all. It was literally every superhero against Thanos all at once, and he was just. We caught a glimpse of that in Nowhere with the Guardians. He uncoiled Mantis. He turned Drax into a bunch of bricks of clay and stuff. He was doing crap like that left and right to all these different superheroes in the comics. But I get why in a movie it doesn't translate well to a movie. So I get why they made those changes. And it was okay. It's just that the mindless hordes thing kind of been done. But what else can you do? I mean, I'm sure there could be something, but, you know. But, yep, S+ tier for me. Give me all the feels. Every single one of them. Ant-Man and the Wasp. That's pretty mid. Pretty mid. Not much to say there. Decent, but just mid. Captain Marvel. Also mid. But did I like some of these better than some of the other ones? Enough to move them up. I like Doctor Strange better than Guardians 2. Fuck, I even like Ultron better than Guardians 2 and Iron Man. Yeah, I can't put Ultron on the same level as Thor. That's just not vibing. All right, Endgame. There's no question, and just right out of the box, S+. There are so many moments there that just blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. The ending fight is well, everyone talks about the ending fight, and that is, as a comic fan, that was a mindfuck to the millionth degree. It was just incredible seeing all that come to fruition, culminating with Cap and Mjolnir. I mean, doesn't get much better than that. And like I said, I'll link to that theater reaction below. I'm sure it was the same in all your theaters when you saw it. So, yeah. It was... Real MVP, though? The rat that released Scott Lang. Without that rat doing that, in that parking garage or whatever, no hope. No hope. Shout out to the rat. Spiderman Far From Home. This was really good. I really enjoyed this one. Mysterio is an amazing villain. His story changed a little bit from the comics. In the comics, he was a SFX visual artist, special effects for movies and TV shows kind of guy. Quentin Beck was. This one didn't really get his backstory at all. He just kind of showed up and started doing his thing. But the way he took Stark's tech, turned it against him, drones, it really makes a lot of sense as opposed to special effects. Black Widow. Black Widow was good. I would put it at... I've only seen it the once. Just last year. I'm going to have to revisit it. It was good. It was... Yeah. Yeah. And you know why? Florence Pugh. And David Harbour. Just, they made that movie for me. Shang-Chi. Just recently rewatched this. Very good movie. I love his down-to-earth... is it Simu Liu? Is that how you pronounce it? Simu Liu? It was great. I really enjoyed it on second time around. I liked it the first time. Second time around, no, not A though. Not A. Solid B. Solid B. Eternals. Man, also saw this the once. Did not care for it. It's really weird. So, in Guardians 2, Ego planted a celestial seed in the earth, right? But there was already a celestial seed in the earth? I don't know. Conjoined twin celestials? I don't know. I'm going to have to rewatch it again. But for right now, where it sits, it's a D. D for me. Didn't really have much of anything that's super, super memorable. And again, just lizard dog creatures. I kind of over it. Kind of over it. Spider-Man No Way Home. Right there, baby. Have to give it up for Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield. Without Tobey specifically and Sam Raimi, I mean, those early Spider-Men were just, well, first two. Topher Grace, sorry, bud. Didn't cut it as Brock. But anyways, this was just... I wish I hadn't known as much as I knew going into No Way Home. I wish I was surprised by Garfield Maguire. I would have lost my shit. And it was great. Willem Dafoe brings it as Goblin once again. Not home, honey. It's just Dafoe. And Alfred Molina, great. All right, now into the Disney Plus shows. WandaVision. I liked it. I really enjoyed it, but where would I put WandaVision? Is it mid? I almost feel like the MCU shows need to be their separate category. But, oh no, you know what? I'm going to put it at a B. I'm going to put it as a B. It was solid. I think it took far too long to get to where it ended up. But Monica Rambeau is going to be great. And yeah. Gonna have to rewatch this before we see Doctor Strange pretty soon. Falcon Winter Soldier. Dude, great show. The dynamics, and once again, this is kind of in line with Captain America Winter Soldier, is a very more grounded and realistic show. And you can kind of empathize with the people left over from the snap, or the blip, as they call it. I don't know, blip. It's dumb. But like, these people had 5 years to live their lives without half of the world. And then, you know, all of a sudden, all those people are back. And what do you do with that? Where do they go? Where do they live? How do they, you know? Yeah. This one had a very relatable theme as well. And they're dynamic. Bucky and Sam. Great. Great. Loki. Everyone's favorite bad guy. Didn't even talk about Loki in the Avengers or Thor stuff. Tom Hiddleston was born to play this role. He was born to play this role. He is Loki. And Owen Wilson and he were great. I'm going to put this as... also put it as a B. What if? Now, what if I loved the What If comics? What if Peter Parker had married Mary Jane? What if Punisher's family wasn't killed in Central Park? There was dozens, if not hundreds, of What If comics. So seeing these brought back all the feels. Really, and the stories that they decided to tell, Feige decided to tell, were just great. So that brings us to and if you haven't seen this, watch the first one about Agent Carter and the Doctor Strange one before you go see Doctor Strange 2. As well as the Zombies episode. Just watch them all. Watch them all. Hawkeye, I loved. To me, it was out fucking standing. Hey, bro. The Tracksuit Mafia. Those guys were comedy. And once again, Florence Pugh bringing the heat when she finally comes. Like I said, there was going to be spoilers for all this, so don't worry about it. Because as we saw at the end of Black Widow, the stinger was Florence Pugh, Black Widow's sister, being told that it was Hawkeye that killed her. So naturally, and the addition to Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh, by the way, Spider-Man, Matt Murdock, Daredevil from the Netflix series is now part of the MCU, as is Vincent D'Onofrio, Charlie Cox, and Vincent D'Onofrio. Great additions. Yeah, love this show. Loved it. Okay, the current series in production, or that's being released, Moon Knight. I really enjoyed Moon Knight as a comic collector. And I'm enjoying the show. I really think it's a interesting take on personality disorders and how a child going through traumatic stuff. So Mark Spector, or the story is that Mark and his brother were, again, like I said, I'm spoiling the show here. If you haven't seen it, Mark and his brother went in some cave filled with water. His brother drowned. Mark took it on himself. His mother blamed him as well. She was always mad. She ended up beating him. So he invented this personality based on a movie that they liked, Steven. And just to protect his own psyche and self-preservation, he created this alter ego that he slips in and out of. It's an interesting dynamic, and I'm really enjoying it. The Khonshu aspect, I'm going to put it as a solid A. Solid A. I think the notion of a bad guy, the bad guy Ethan Hawke, I forget his name, apparently has the power, kind of like a Minority Report thing, to where you can see someone's future if they're going to do bad things, and based on that, he either takes you out, kills you via some weird power, or you live, right? Your scales are balanced. So it's again, like I said, Minority Report. It's basing it on things people may do, or I don't know how his power specifically works. If it's will do or may do, because I don't know how it works with choice and everything. So anyhow, so yeah, that's everything from Phase 1 all the way through Phase 4 in the Disney Plus shows. Like I said, agree with me, disagree with me. Yeah, it looks about right. Let me know in the comments. And like I said, appreciate you coming by. Let me know what you think. And like I said, I'll put some links in the description down below. And if you enjoyed the music, it's my genre. Rock is my genre for sure. It's Stream Beats on Spotify. All right, guys. Take care. I'll see you next time. Peace.